In the geologic column, why are there so many distinct rock layers? In this session, we're going to discuss the reason for asking that question. There are several steps in preserving a distinct sediment layer. One, you deposit the layer of sand or mud over a wide area. Then you quickly cover it with more layers to protect it. And you have to protect it from several things. Protect it from erosion. Also protect it from something we call bioturbation. Bioturbation is the burrows that animals dig into sediment. If you're at the seashore, you may see little crabs or other creatures burrowing in the sand. That's bioturbation, the animals making those burrows and churning up the sediment. As I said, we need to protect rock layers from bioturbation if it's going to be preserved. In modern environments, bioturbation destroys almost all bedding in sediments. Here you see a picture of a cross-section through some layered rock, and you see how it's been partly destroyed by animals digging burrows. The diagram illustrates the relationship between time and bioturbation. Letter A illustrates many layers of sediment that have not been destroyed or damaged by bioturbation. That will only happen if these layers are all laid down very rapidly, so there isn't time for bioturbation. In B, there's been a little more time, so you have some damage by bioturbation. In C and D and E, there are increasing amounts of bioturbation, which means you had increasing amounts of time for all these creatures to burrow and destroy those layers. Here we see 4 different rock formations, and all of them are layered. The horizontal lines you see are not just lines on the surface. Those are layers of sediment that go back into the hillside, and they're distinctly preserved. In each of these pictures, you can see the distinct preservation of these rocks. They've not been destroyed by bioturbation. If these rock layers took very long time, thousands of years or more, to be laid down, then why hasn't there been bioturbation to just damage the layers, which there should have been? This is what we should find if there had been a lot of time in the laying down of these layers. Animals burrow down and they make all kinds of damage in the sediment. C is a specific rock layer, heavily bioturbated. D is a rock layer that has a little bit of burrowing, but not very much. E is one that has no burrowing. So the layers in E shows what happens when things happen rapidly, when layers are deposited rapidly. C, you find occasionally rocks like this, which have been heavily burrowed, but not very often. Let's illustrate this in a simple way. We have a slice of bread. Then you put some more slices on top. These slices are all undamaged. Nothing has destroyed those layers. Now if we take one slice of bread, lay it down, put another one on top, and then we let it sit there for a while, what's going to happen? Well, you can have mold developing, and insects can chew on it, even mice, and so you have a lot of damage which happens to that bread. And so if we put more layers on top, now we can see where there was time between the slices of bread with all the damage. That's the same thing here. In E, there has not been enough time for damage by bioturbation. In C, there was a lot of time for damage. Too much of the rock record is distinctly bedded. There wasn't enough time for bioturbation. And this is something we see all over in the geologic record. There's just too much of the rock record that is distinctly bedded. There wasn't enough time for bioturbation. And this is a very big issue because there is just so much rock distinctly bedded without the bioturbation damage, and so it does not look like this took millions of years to form.